The air's getting a little crisp, isn't it? The sun sets just a bit too early. And maybe you're spending more time indoors curled up with a warm drink.
Mm,
For those of us, navigating the landscape of learning English, this quieter season it's actually a phenomenal opportunity.
it truly is. Today, we're going to focus on um, low pressure, high utility language. We know you're aiming for clarity, for confidence, and, well, above all, for sounding natural when you speak.
Right.
The goal isn't just reciting grammar rules, it's more about the rhythm and the tone.
And that is absolutely the mission for this deep dive. We've looked at a whole stack of sources, including guidance from channels focused on these really supportive learning environments.
Like Fluent Mindcast.
Exactly, that
Yeah.
kind of calm, slow-paced approach. And we've distilled the most essential, repeatable English phrases you'll need for these winter months.
Yeah, we've basically extracted the language of daily life right now. How do people talk about the weather, their energy in the morning, their clothes, even their need for comfort?
So what's the plan?
We're going to introduce these simple, natural phrases, explain the context, so when and why native speakers use them, and we'll give you these gentle invitations to pause and repeat them comfortably. No pressure.
We really want you to feel the rhythm of the language. I think if you can master the cadence of these simple sentences, you'll sound immediately more relaxed, more approachable in any real-life exchange.
Let's get started. Let's unpack this essential winter vocabulary.
Okay, so let's begin with the most universal connection point there is. I mean, the one that requires the least effort but gives you the highest return.
Talking about the cold.
Talking about the cold. And it's less about reporting the exact temperature and much more about creating a shared understanding.
That's spot on. The sources all highlight that weather talk, especially, complaining lightly about the cold. It just functions as this universal social lubricant.
It's the opening move.
It's the required opening move in English small talk, absolutely.
But why is it so effective, though? If you just say, it is cold, that's factual, but it doesn't really,
Yeah.
It doesn't open a door, does it?
No, not at all.
Where we saw the real conversational power emerge was in these slightly more expressive phrases. Things like, it's really cold today. Or the slightly dramatic, I wasn't ready for this weather.
Exactly. That small addition of really, or the phrase, I wasn't ready, it instantly signals this, like vulnerability and a shared experience.
Right.
It invites the other person to respond in kind, maybe with something equally simple, like, me neither, or, oh, tell me about it.
Okay, now here's where the language gets really fun, I think. The power of exaggeration. We noticed that native English speakers, they rely so heavily on hyperbole to make conversations feel relaxed and engaging.
They lean into the drama.
They do.
That's a great observation. It's a linguistic tool. When someone says, I feel like I live in the Arctic today, they don't actually believe they're near the North Pole.
Of course not.
But the exaggeration, it generates a smile. It validates that universal discomfort. It's an expression of feeling, not a statement of scientific fact.
And this expressive language is so key for sounding natural. We use these over-the-top phrases all the time, even when the temperature is just chilly, not actually, life-threateningly cold.
So let's try one. Let's focus on the rhythm and the sound of one of these phrases. This one's simple, but it's highly effective.
Okay.
I want you to just take a breath, and after the pause, repeat this comfortably. Ready. It's freezing out there.
And notice how even when you say those three simple words, you can use your tone to convey either genuine struggle or just a lighthearted complaint.
That simple mastery instantly helps you sound more fluent and relaxed. You've just unlocked the art of simple, relatable small talk.
Okay, that covers the outside world. But once we've survived the walk to work or the bus stop, we face the next great winter battle.
Getting moving in the morning.
Yes. Let's transition from the cold outside to that internal struggle of winter mornings.
Well, the short, dark days. They fundamentally change our energy levels. And this shared struggle is reflected in these common daily English phrases. They really tap into a universal feeling of, well, lethargy.
They're powerful because they reveal a cultural pattern, right?
They do. We see this reflected everywhere, in texts, office small talk, expressions like, getting out of bed was hard today.
Or that really relatable confession, my bed was just too warm to leave.
Yes. And what's interesting in the material is how often these phrases are used to explain, a slight lack of enthusiasm or energy. If you walk into a room looking tired, you can sort of preemptively address it with one of these sentences.
And it makes your English sound so much more realistic and relatable.
Instantly.
I find that cultural shorthand around energy levels just fascinating. The sources point out that in a lot of English-speaking places, people joke constantly about needing extra coffee or moving very slowly just to, quote, survive winter mornings.
It shows how these simple phrases communicate a whole collective emotional state, and they're excellent confidence boosters for a learner.
How so?
Well, you're communicating a complex mood lethargy mixed with a bit of humor using very simple grammar. It's efficient language.
Speaking of things we need to survive, this moves us naturally to practical needs. And that means clothing. This becomes a daily conversation topic because it directly affects your comfort, your health.
And how long you can stand waiting for a bus.
Exactly. It's a constant planning topic. You hear people exchanging this functional information using simple sentences. Things like, I need to layer up.
Or the slightly regretful, oh, I forgot my gloves today. These are essential for preparing for the outside world, and they show you're taking the day seriously.
Right. And what I notice in the guides is that these practical expressions often lead to unsolicited advice, which is actually a sign of connection.
That's so true. If someone says they forgot their gloves, the immediate follow-up might be, oh, you should get a pair that are smartphone friendly or something like that. It just expands the conversation instantly.
So let's practice a couple of phrases related to practical winter survival. One is a statement of intent, and the other, well, it leads us beautifully into our next section on comfort and warmth.
Okay, so take a moment, focus on the words, and repeat them after me. I need to layer up. And now the second one, soup is perfect for this weather.
Wonderful. You've equipped yourself for the outside world and prepared for the internal comfort required.
Hmm.
That sets the stage perfectly for Section 3. The connection between winter and warm comfort is so strong in English culture that it's just clearly reflected in the phrases we use about food and drinks.
We move from necessity to preference.
Exactly. Cold days trigger this craving for warmth, and this translates into frequent, friendly conversation. You hear simple phrases like, I could really use a hot drink.
Or that sense of anticipation in a cup of tea would really hit the spot right now. They're extremely common.
I think the key here is the verb choice, saying I could really use,
Yeah.
instead of just I want.
Mm.
It expresses this deep, almost necessary craving for comfort.
Right. In English-speaking cultures, hot drinks like tea or coffee or hot chocolate, they're like conversational props. They become anchors in a cozy, friendly exchange.
And they are so powerful because they allow you to express comfort and personal preference naturally. That's a deeper form of communication than just, reporting a fact.
And the sources often note that the conversation about what drink you prefer can trigger powerful memories, like a specific type of hot chocolate connected to a childhood memory or something.
So when you ask, what's your go-to winter drink, you're not just talking about hydration.
No. You're inviting the listener into a cozy personal space. This is critical for fluency. You're showing emotional range with the simplest possible linguistic tools.
Okay, moving beyond just drinks, how does this cold weather affect how we organize our time? Let's shift our focus to the overall winter rhythm.
Well, winter naturally adjusts our routines, right? It creates a slower lifestyle, and people describe these adjustments with simple phrases that they grant permission to slow down.
Like, I stay home more in winter.
Exactly. Or the slightly defensive sounding, I don't go out as much when it's cold. But these aren't really excuses. They're statements of a new, natural routine.
And this reflects that sense that life is slowing down. It's influenced by concepts like hygge, that Scandinavian idea of coziness and comfortable conviviality.
And discussing these habits is such an easy way to connect language to your daily life. It immediately opens the door to questions about books or streaming shows or hobbies.
And then we get to the unavoidable topic, health.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone retreats indoors, health-related phrases just become so much more common, focusing mostly on colds and flu.
These are highly practical sentences you really need, both in casual and more serious contexts. The typical phrases are pretty straightforward.
Like, I think I'm catching a cold.
Or the communal observation, everyone seems sick lately.
And the sources confirm these phrases serve another social purpose, right? They elicit sympathy and often the sharing of simple home remedies or advice.
Absolutely. Saying I'm catching a cold is basically an invitation for someone to tell you to drink more water or suggest a cold medicine. The utility here is huge. You need to be able to communicate your physical state clearly.
So let's try that key phrase now. It's essential for explaining why you might be a little quiet or tired. Gently, just take a moment to repeat this. I think I'm catching a cold.
That phrase will serve you well, and just mastering it helps manage expectations in your daily interactions.
Now let's close out our deep dive by moving toward the end of the day. The quiet moments, the mood of winter evenings, and how English expresses this more reflective pace.
Yeah, the language here really shifts to focus on contentment and stillness. The expressions reflect a slower, comforting pace, influenced by the early darkness.
Phrases like, it's a good night to stay in.
Or that feeling of appreciation in, I love quiet winter evenings.
And these phrases, they're not just descriptive, they're emotional. They tap into that feeling that winter is a season for genuine rest and reflection. Using them helps you express those emotions gently and with confidence.
And this reflective mood, it naturally impacts social plans. Cold weather encourages simpler, more intimate gatherings, usually centered around the home.
The social language reflects that lower energy, that preference for simplicity. You hear invitations like, let's keep it low-key.
Or the practical suggestion, maybe we'll just stay in and order pizza.
Yeah.
And the sources confirm this. A lot of people genuinely prefer smaller home gatherings during winter instead of going out to noisier, crowded places. Understanding low key is essential. It just means minimal effort, maximum comfort.
And finally, we get to the simple phrases that convey these deeper reflective feelings. Beyond just routines and plans, winter brings feelings of comfort, nostalgia, calm,
We saw this beautiful simplicity in phrases like, winter makes me slow down.
or the very subtle, there's something peaceful about cold days.
And this is where simple language crosses over into really powerful personal storytelling.
And that's so key for a learner. You don't need complex sentence structures to express a complex thought. By using simple descriptive adjectives like peaceful or calm, you can share a genuinely personal reflection.
The material suggested that many writers and artists find inspiration during winter precisely because of this enforced stillness. These simple expressions are perfect for those moments when you want to share a deeper thought.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner? We've spanned the entire day, from Arctic exaggeration in the morning to peaceful reflection in the evening, all relying on core, simple language.
It means that simplicity is your greatest strength. Don't obsess over constructing academic sentences. Focusing on pronunciation, rhythm, clarity, that natural flow of these phrases is so much more important than perfect, complex grammar.
Absolutely. Those small, simple seasonal phrases make a massive difference in helping you sound natural and confident in real conversations. You're learning to communicate shared cultural experiences, and that is really the heart of fluency.
So, here is a final thought for you to carry into your day. We discussed connection through complaining about the cold, comfort through warm food, and reflection during quiet evenings. Which winter feeling, is it connection, comfort, or reflection, do you find easiest to express using the simple phrases we covered today?
Think about that, and notice which phrases feel most useful for your own daily life. That realization is the most efficient way to prioritize your learning.
We truly hope this deep dive has given you a calm and supported pathway to practicing real-life English. And remember, places like Fluent Mindcast are always there as a trusted space for this kind of calm practice, especially as the seasons turn colder.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.